And it's really the first time also that refined carbohydrates have been restricted much more significantly, because previous guidelines would always say, try to make the majority of your grains whole grains, but
Right.
it would allow
Good
up to
luck
half
with
of
that.
those. Yeah, half of those, right? Which I think we consume close to probably over 80% of our grains are refined. So can you tell us your views? Now you can go, you don't have to go soft, Marion, just say what you really feel. How do you feel about these guidelines? What is the good, the bad, the ugly? How do you feel?
I love the eat real food, which is the overriding message. And I was very disappointed that that was not the first guideline. I was very, very disappointed. I thought it should have been there. It's in the agency head's introduction, and it's in the pyramid. I mean, one of the things that's really, first of all, it was really confusing because there's the guidelines and then there's all this other stuff that they don't tell you about in the guidelines. Well, first of all, I was sent the guidelines by reporters the night before. And it wasn't the guidelines that came out. It was a summary of the guidelines. But it said it was the final guidelines document, but it wasn't. So my initial comments were based on not seeing the real thing. And then as the morning unfolded, reporters sent me the guidelines and eventually I got all those other documents, but each one was a surprise. And the my summary of the whole thing is it takes Michael Pollan's eat food not too much, mostly plants, and changes it to eat food as much as you like, mostly meat.
Oh, goodness.
That's my sort of summary of it. I really liked the eat real food. I really liked it. And I thought it was terrific that they said that they took on highly processed foods, because the official Dietary Guidelines Advisory Committee from the Biden administration punted on that one. I thought erroneously. I thought that was very weak of them, that they were in a position to make a very strong statement about ultra-processed foods, and they didn't. They blew it. And one of the things they did was they excluded Kevin Hall's experiment. In which he showed that diets, in a very well-controlled trial, he showed that diets that were based on ultra-processed foods made people eat more calories. I thought that was reason enough. Okay, it was a short-term study. How are you going to do a longer-term study when you keep people locked up like that? That was a metabolic ward study. So I thought the Dietary Guidelines Advisory Committee should have just grit their teeth and been really brave and courageous and just come out and said. And so it was great that these guidelines brought that back.
Okay, let's talk about the...
And then we can talk about the parts I don't like.
Yes, let's talk about, so you like that it's real food. You like that there's a specific calling out of these highly processed foods that should not be scientifically controversial about a dietary pattern that's high in ultra processed foods is harmful, right? You said
I
that
think there's plenty of evidence for that.
I agree.
Plenty of evidence.
You said that it's sort of eat food, mostly meat as much as you want. Now I'm going to take issue with this. Okay, so there's two different things, right? There's the upside down inverted pyramid, right? And then there's the guidelines themselves.
Yeah, I'm taking it as a whole.
I get that. But when I look at the pyramid, first of all, I agree with you. There's a big steak. There's a big ribeye at the top left. The plant proteins, there's some nuts, seeds, legumes, and beans, but they're smaller, right, in proportion.
But not only are they smaller, but if you go through the website shows you the meat first, the meat second, the
order
meat third, and then it goes to the dairy products, and then it goes to the vegetables. So it goes from left to right across, and then it puts the whole grains at the bottom.
Right. So here's the thing I would like to distinguish. There is, I think your experience of the guidelines is how most people experience them, right? You go to the website, you get all of the images, you see the pyramid, and then you read the content. Now, so let's just talk about the pyramid, stay on there for a little bit more. So I agree with you. I would have liked to see because if I had it my way, I would have done things a little differently. I would love to see the plant proteins, plant rich, protein rich plant foods up there on par, up lots of them. If you look at the triangle, the animal protein, they still do only take up about 25 to 30% of the total area. I think people see I have heard so many different interpretations of this pyramid. I mean, I've had people say the broccoli was really big. Like, how is the broccoli so big, right? Because it's this huge broccoli thing. So I think we have to keep in mind that the triangle is very influential. That's why everyone's talking about these new guidelines, part of the reasons. But it's not the science behind it. When you go to the document, the section on protein, it does not say to prioritize animal protein over plant protein.
It does
list all of them out. Now, I would have done the order. If you're talking about like the healthy fats, I would have ordered seafood, nuts and seeds, and avocados. I would have put those first, right? But in general, it's trying to sort of put them at the same level to say we're not emphasizing plants or animals.
But to my credit, I also am looking at what the agencies are saying on
the communications
social media.
about it.
And so
that's completely fair.
Here's the Secretary of Health and Human Services having candles for his birthday on a steak. And then the whole let's talk about the whole milk message, which is just weird to me, because if you're concerned about the nutritional value of milk, the nutritional value of whole and skim milk is basically the same. The only difference is that whole milk has more fat and calories. And so I don't understand that. And yet here are the secretaries of Health and Human Services and Agriculture posing with milk mustaches. And here's the President of the United States posing with a milk mustache and holding cartons of milk, and everybody talking about whole milk is back. Protein is back. Protein is a euphemism for meat. And I'm kind of stunned.